Amid escalating military tensions in the Middle East, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently suggested that the death of Iran's supreme leader could finally bring peace to the region. Other officials went further, stating the Iranian leader could meet the exact same fate as Iraq's deposed dictator, Saddam Hussein. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has ruled Iran for decades, but he is 86 years old. His death is an impending, unavoidable reality. Assuming his absence brings stability is a dangerous miscalculation. The sudden death of Khamenei is highly likely to ignite widespread chaos, unleashing competing factions that no single person can control. To understand why, we have to look at how Iran has been governed for centuries. Since the Safavid dynasty was established in 1501, the country has relied almost exclusively on absolute central leadership, a practice that continued right through the era of the monarchy under the Shah. This organizational chart shows how the modern Islamic Republic codified this concentration of power into Article 110 of its constitution. It gives a single man total, unquestioned control over the armed forces, the judiciary, and the nation's foreign policy. Finding someone to fill that role is difficult. It became much harder in May 2024, when Iran's president, Ibrahim Raisi, died in a helicopter crash. His death eliminated the most obvious successor and blew the race for the throne wide open. Iran's modern political identity relies on a single, all-powerful linchpin. Removing him guarantees a systemic power vacuum the state is entirely unprepared to manage. Under Article 111, if the supreme leader dies, a temporary leadership council takes over, then passes the decision to the 88-member Assembly of Experts. Currently meeting behind closed doors, they are secretly shortlisting candidates. But the assembly is heavily fractured. One major bloc is the clerical consensus. This faction pushes for traditional religious figures, like Ali Reza Arafi, who represent the old guard establishment and want to maintain the strict religious status quo. Competing against them is a push for the dynastic heir, Khamenei's own son, Mojtaba. But handing power directly from father to son violates the core anti-monarchy mandate that drove the 1979 Islamic Revolution in the first place. Ultimately, this constitutional roadmap is mostly an illusion. The true battle for Iran's future won't be decided by clerical votes in a committee room, but by whichever faction controls the guns outside. That brings us to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC. They are the most lethal and capable faction vying for control of the state. The Iranian Constitution's Preamble and Article 150 task the IRGC with an ideological mission to expand their supremacy. They are mandated to carry out a holy war, or jihad, a religious struggle to establish Islamic law across the globe. Over the decades, the IRGC has grown far beyond a standard military unit. It operates a massive economic conglomerate, a vast intelligence agency, touching every sector of Iranian society. If the clerics in the Assembly of Experts deadlock and cannot agree on a successor, the IRGC has both the motive and the overwhelming firepower to step in and play kingmaker. Whoever eventually takes the throne will only do so with the IRGC's blessing. This effectively shifts the ultimate center of power in Iran away from the religious clerics in the mosque and directly to the military commanders. The nightmare scenario for the region begins if the IRGC installs a weak puppet leader or executes a shadow military coup while clerics argue. This kind of aggressive power grab would functionally end Iran's status as a unified theocracy. Instead, the country would splinter into a heavily armed, fragmented military state. For all his hostility toward the West, Ayatollah Khamenei is a highly calculated actor. He consistently prioritizes the physical survival of his regime above all other goals. Without his central, survival-first authority dictating the rules, Iran devolves into a multi-headed hydra. You are left with competing military commanders operating massive arsenals with absolutely no ultimate oversight. The immediate geopolitical danger comes from those rogue IRGC commanders. Freed from the supreme leader's leash, they can act independently to secure regional power bases. To consolidate their influence, these unchained commanders might intentionally escalate foreign conflicts with Israel or the United States, purposefully creating an external crisis. A state of war provides the perfect pretext for domestic control. It gives military leaders the justification they need to declare martial law and brutally crush rival factions at home. An unstable, dying regime desperately lashing out is more dangerous to the world than a unified dictatorship with a predictable strategy. Western leaders might be cheering for the downfall of Iran's supreme leader, but taking out the linchpin of the Iranian state might just pull the pin on a regional grenade.